I was just eating this biscuit mother prepared. Putizza is what they call this. And then I came across this thing here. In my mouth, I felt it inside of the mouth. I don't know what this is. This is probably just something that during MK Ultra, my mother claimed me they're going to put even the microplastic inside of the food that she will be preparing at home. But this stuff here that I see, this kind of stuff here, I would really like to know what the fuck is this thing here? What is this shit here? The way this feels. Is definitely strange. I will just document this thing. I don't think that this is a plastic, but I don't know what this would be. This is not from the fruit or anything like that, the peel from the fruit. So what the hell is this thing here? She should explain about this stuff here, what this could possibly be, because this is just not... I think it's very, very inappropriate, this thing. This is just one more view. Oh, it fell me on the floor. I just really, really need to learn what the hell is this thing. What is this shit? Yep, just the way you see it. That's from the other side. And just disregard this brown spots, that kind of stuff. Just this here, this is what I'm interested in, because it fell me on the floor, so forget about that part. But what the hell is this? What is this shit? I have not seen anything like this yet, because especially because I don't know, it might seem to me, but it appears like on both sides is just green, and in the middle it's not really green. So what the hell is this thing? Yeah, on this side looks green also in the middle. Yeah, and I see some kind of like follicles stuff. This is probably really a microfiber, this stuff here. This kind of a feel as if this would be from the candle, this stuff here. So I'm going to find out about what this is. This stuff is going to go to the internet, and hopefully that I get assistance to Novo Mesto police, because this is too much. This is just fucking too much. This, in my opinion, this is from a candle. And this would probably go into the category of the microplastics. Yeah, I was just chewing this shit, and that one popped up. Mom said during MK Ultra in front of the police that here and there that she drops some piece inside. Random, whatever it is. And so that's pretty fucking nasty. This is just one more view. Oh, it fell me on the floor. I just really need to learn what the hell is this thing. What is this shit? Yep, just the way you see it. That's from the other side. And just disregard this brown spots, that kind of stuff. Just this here, this is what I'm interested in, because he fell me on the floor, so forget about that part. But what the hell is this? What is this shit? I have not seen anything like this yet, especially because, I don't know, it might seem to me, but it appears like on both sides is just green, and in the middle it's not really green. So what the hell is this thing? Yeah, on this side looks green also in the middle. Yeah, and I see some kind of like follicles stuff. This is probably really a microfiber, this stuff here. This kind of a feel as if this would be from the candle, this stuff here. So I'm going to find out about what this is. This stuff is going to go to the internet, and hopefully that I get assistance to Novo Mesto police, because this is too much. This is just fucking too much. This, in my opinion, this is from a candle. And this would probably go into the category of the microplastics. Yeah, I was just chewing this shit, and that one popped up. Mom said during MK Ultra in front of the police that here and there that she drops some piece inside. Random, whatever it is. And so that's pretty fucking nasty. We did it like this. krvavica right there. I was preparing one for about 45 minutes, 40 minutes, something like that. Just as is written here. It says right there, it says 45 to 60 minutes, 170 to 180 degrees Celsius. She instead proposed to just bake it right here on this thing here. She just proposed to bake it here a little bit, and that's it. Basically, this. Just here a little bit, bake it, and that's it. That's ready. But she became very, very knowledgeable about the eggs that I started to prepare, and did not fail to come here to tell me that I have to turn the heat on to boil them, to hard cook them. So she just asked me if I have a schizophrenic attack. Yeah, I do have a schizophrenic attack. Plastic was inside in here, and that plastic might have been from a candle wax. This is what it is. I anticipate that was. Earlier today, she had I should have video recorded that stuff, and I did not. A postcard also from a light fixture, like on the street. There's some other stuff. I did not video record because I consider my mom as insane, to be honest. I think that she is not in the right state of mind. I think she's drunk from the violence. And I already recorded so much that the whole case, the whole thing, if it's going to get through, she's going to get help. If it's not going to get through, it doesn't make any sense to video record this garbage anymore, because she's nuts. She's crazy. But this is the thing, she's not the only one. The Smrečnikova store near a home for elderly people was to serve mother, according to Robert Golob, as emotional, psychological support. There is enormously a lot of weirdos over there, giving all kinds of dismissive gesture based on MK Ultra scenario. This entire apartment area was involved in violence. And that's the store she likes to go to. She had certain stores designated by the police to give her a morale boost, including the roommate from my father, who suggested that this one right now, that once I come here and he presented himself during MK Ultra, he claimed that I am fucked. That means that my father is dead, basically. This is how they rationalized. Yeah, the new roommate from my father, he was the one who told me during MK Ultra, when you see me, you are fucked. I didn't understand during MK Ultra why I would be fucked. But my father is already going toward the 4th year inside of the home for elderly people. So why would I be fucked? That was supposed to serve mother again as a moral boost in crime against me. Obviously getting rid of father, that kind of stuff. Maybe it's a gaslighting. We're going to see how that's going to work out. Father is not doing too well. Was coughing all night long. Still coughing. Nurses gave him an oxygen and stuff like this. If that's true, I don't even know what's true, what's not. She gets to see him only. So this is... you should not eat regular candle wax. I browsed here if it's edible. And it's exactly the type of symptoms that I have problems with. That's totally stuff. Digestive upset, intestinal blockages, if large amounts are swallowed, and allergic reactions, indigestible. Your body cannot break it down, so it just passes through. I am not going to go and forget about pieces of food even, I would pass through urination. It might be related to this stuff. That stuff repaired. It healed itself. It's much more normal than what it was at one point in time. But that's thanks to the food I started to prepare for myself. So mother is poisoning food. She is into food poisoning. She is into it. She spoke with the police, will be sipping here and there stuff inside of the food. But she suggested only for this type of food, for the biscuits and stuff like that. I think she's doing this everywhere, wherever she cooks it. I think it's more present, this type of stuff, than anything else. I think this got a lot to do with this stuff. Father stated during MK Ultra that he will go to home for elderly people simply so that I can be poisoned, which is diabolical to say somebody words like this. He said he's going to go to the home for elderly people simply so that he would not be found guilty, that he wouldn't be guilty, because he said that he was guilty for everything. He actually played even a victim. The one who was guilty for everything always I was. And he always disbursed his madness, rage on me through beatings. Rage, explosion of madness through which even he gun threatened, and all kinds of stuff went on with him. Not to mention about the stuff that went on during MK Ultra. So when I see this shit and when I recall the stuff that they had going on with police, one thing is to say somebody, you're gonna do something, but then something completely different is when that somebody finds stuff like this inside of the food. And now the threats that you stated to me are becoming very, very realistic and worthy to consider. He came at 4 o'clock to play with the beans here now. At 4 o'clock in the morning he came to... Listen to this. To empty the trash bin now at 4 o'clock in the morning. That's new. How the fuck is this not insane? Not supposed to do this at 4 o'clock in the morning. I hear the smashing, I hear the behind the house, boom, boom, boom. I get up, I see this, fucking lights, boom, boom. What the hell, eh? It looks like it's gonna be snowing. It's snowing already. Not really, probably just from the cold. The issue that I just reported about the trash bin lunacy was part of the MK Ultra, in particular this procedure at 4 o'clock in the morning procedure. They had all the junkers, all the cleaners, the garbage cleaners involved in this, every one of them. It did pertain the night stuff like the one that happened right now. Sure, it could be associated maybe with the cold weather, potential snowstorm, but during MK Ultra it was interpreted. This was right here. I was just inside of the living room area and I hear boom, boom, boom. That's behind our house right there, the way you see it. They insisted during MK Ultra that garbage cleaners to me. They insisted that when I hear this, it's already over. And what they did was they suggested for my mother. I'm about to publish the video pertaining to what they demanded for me to see as a poisoning by my mother. That stuff took place yesterday. I briefly mentioned it, but I'm going to create the whole video about this stuff here. This is this stuff yesterday we have gone through. This one here. That's what I'm about to do next. They first insisted that this is, when you hear this, that this is a sign to the mother that is over with the mother. Then the garbage went on. At night time, they would bring me out of the house, got into my face and said this is a signal to the mother to get you into the psychiatric hospital. This is the way it was during MK Ultra. So this garbage truck that popped up today at 4:30 was not a coincidence. These people do come at 7, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever it is. Maybe this is early on visit due to weather conditions or something like that. That is, of course, very possible. However, the stuff that I stated is fact. That's why this is garbage, cleaning garbage, literally. That's why I did not like that kind of stuff. And as I grabbed the telephone, finally, it came to me that I should record the scum. It was too late. I ran outside with a telephone, still saw the lights on the stairways flashing, but I had yet to turn the telephone not on, but the camera, and the camera would not turn, and the truck already was leaving, and this is how I find myself on a terrace. You know. Fucking animals, that's correct. These police, they deliver you out in the middle of the night in front of mother and in front of the father like a cattle to meet with and with the garbage cleaners and with the people that would do a job. There was a guy that at nighttime would do a lot of noise with a tractor. He was transporting hay back and forth and stuff like this. It was all kinds of stuff that went on also at night. It's with the police. During MK Ultra, when they got me during MK Ultra, they were barricaded inside of the house night and day for days till the session would end, or months till the session would end. And so you got to see, you don't meet them during the daytime at all, you don't see them, but at nighttime you got to meet all kinds of people, also in the daytime with the police. During MK Ultra, but not in real time. In real time, those that were the most involved in it, you wouldn't see them. It was out of the sight. Unless they try to provoke incident based on MK Ultra scenario. They crafted this stuff very, very carefully. They presented me mother as somebody who's going to struggle for me and somebody who's going to be forced to do the stuff, however, who's going to continue to struggle for me, somebody who loves me unconditionally. Yeah, this is the way it was. And from that point of view, from that perspective, they suggested like it's going to be too late for her. Yeah, signaling her it's going to be too late for her. Equally as to the father, equally as it pertained to the father, who also explained to me he's going to have to go to home for elderly people because I can get him jailed, pointing at him, and the jail will be even much worse than his death. This is where the feeding tube came out. That a feeding tube would be like an emergency reserve he would use to relieve himself from future possible suffering inside of the prison. Father was very, very detailed about this stuff, that I should not talk about him. Actually, they were very, very detailed about this stuff. Not about the mommy, not about daddy, not about the mommy. This is just the way it was. And so when this truck I heard this morning, the first thing that struck me is that based on MK Ultra brainwash, because you pulled the first thing that happened first, it was intended to scare me for the sake of my mom, because it was based on MK Ultra scenario sign for her that she is already listed. It was all about listed. Mother would leave all the time the telephones up. She would not hang them since my return from Poland in 2020. She would not even hang them on the phone place, but she would leave them out. And that pertained to the brainwash that they are listening to us. They are listening to us. They are surveillancing us. The second individual pertaining to the paranoia, how Robert Golob, Milan Kuchan, animals from Novo Mesto police station translated the surveillance paranoia for me to see as anything that I will say about the mother and father will be written down and the state will execute. That's all there is. Already the loud thoughts that I would process in the room with myself, whatever I would do, they insisted I would be surveillanced 24/7, entire house that would be bugged. They had an individual who installed furnace inside of the house, Jože Dulc. His technician come to this house repeatedly to remind me of MK Ultra brainwash, during which they insisted that they would be only coming to do the job with the furnace based on behalf of the government, to collect the tapes. There would be, I don't know what kind of tape recorder, and this tape recorder that would be recording everything and stuff like this. This is the way, of course, this was not the case. That's not how they surveillance these days, at least not. But this is the degree of the paranoia also they continue to enforce since my return from Poland in 2020. So the first thing this morning when I saw this, when I heard this boom, boom, banging, boom, 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 it has stricken me. Became worried for my mom. Now, just now, I recalled also they pulled me out and they spoke to me also about it would be emergency alert to the mother. That was Robert Golob and Milan Kuchan that has to call a psychiatrist and that kind of stuff. Yeah, this is the way it was. I'm not worried about no fucking psychiatrists, not about the psychiatric hospital Ljubljana Polje, not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. What worried me more is about the mom. However, if the mom cannot come out clean about these things, then I'm gonna just say I never had any fucking mom in the first place. You don't just do the stuff like this to anybody, and even less to somebody you claim you care for. Mom did this stuff, truly did this stuff to remind of the issues. She would keep asking about the stuff that were things that were involved in MK Ultra to remind me of certain things. But then sharply, as I would start to talk about MK Ultra, rejected to have anything to do with it and even enlarge me as mentally ill, which is not exactly the kind, nice, or humane in any way procedure. I told you about the mom, how she threatened to take her life through the methanol poisoning and so on. I did explain about that stuff. And by eating rotten meat and all kinds of stuff, and by using a coffee from the Hofer, finally from the Hofer store, exaggerated herself with sipping herself enormous amounts of the coffee inside of the pot. She also claimed that will help her to get rid of herself. So these are not these are not a normal circumstances under any fucking circumstances that United States of America, White House, US Congress, Central Intelligence Agency, FBI, British Royals continue to enforce through Slovenian Milan Kučan, Robert Golob, Janez Janša, Igor Baučar, Dmitry Rupel, Aleš Hojs, etc., etc. That's not fucking normal. These are not the procedures that normally police would apply when dealing with this kind of issue. Not even understanding what MK8 is, right? Like Andrei Štefanić stated, this is a telepathic communication with the police officers. This is what he said. He did not know anything about what MK8 is. That's what he claimed, with a bunch of other criminals whom they met me at Novo Mesto police station. This is not the first time that I heard garbager people at 4 o'clock picking up the stuff. But since I did manage to recall the stuff that pertained to MK Ultra brainwash, it's the first time that I have to declare what this type of stuff was used for. These garbagers did try to intimidate before. In fact, Slovenian government, Slovenes, were using them strictly for the intimidation purposes. And they created some completely insane rules pertaining to this garbage behind our house, which I'm going to discuss some other time. But this is the same shit like ambulance vehicles. They just, they make themselves, they were involved in torture since they, and this is how they got the contract to work for the waste management and finally for the private company. Since they got a contract, since they got the jobs here to visit this place. This Ulica Krka, Street Krka, which is actually a village in Novo Mesto. It's not the first time. They occasionally they would do this. Occasionally, very occasionally, I would hear them doing this stuff. But I'm not sure if I ever heard them at 4:30 in the morning. That's one thing that I'm not sure if I ever heard them at like 4:30 in the morning. There is also a newspaper guy in delivery who was involved in torture. Others that they would deliver also stuff at night. And so they might have been here already before. They might have not made so much fucking noise as they did today. I might have not registered them, but to me it's strange that today at 4:30 they would pop up like this. Yeah, the weather conditions are not exactly ideal. I admit that. This kind of stuff, this is a closing I will give you as close as I can get to this stuff. I told you this kind of stuff. For this kind of stuff, I was brought to United States of America. In fact, I already found the man who was teaching me and explaining me together with other, I don't know, you are Judas Americans or you are Jew Americans. I don't understand you. But I know that you are animals. You are beasts. Literally beasts is who you are. And who you are. It's what makes you. He was explaining me that there is no excuse actually to keep it like this. I already published a video on the internet and I deleted one. I am going to republish that video with some additional details. Let's continue to talk about this stuff. Yes, they were infesting. They were playing with the mold also on the laptops, and they finally did so. The laptop, which was involved in MK Ultra, molded laptop, it eventually was like this. There is no excuse for it. Of course, there is no excuse for anything. There is no excuse for anything. The neighbor, Method Yerman, who was molding the laptop, molding not only this laptop, but started to mold also other laptop that I had. There is absolutely, of course, there is no fucking excuse for it. There is no excuse from my end not to keep the laptops clean. And there is no excuse for it when you saw the laptop with this type of issue, with the screen issues. And when you don't have the money, there is no excuse for it. There is no excuse for you to come to Office for Unemployment, for financial assistance, Office for Social Support, and so on, because there's no excuse. There's no excuse. I just don't know who is it no excuse for. Is it for me that I managed to avoid psychiatrists who are involved together with the social services, workers from employment agency, local employment agency, into threats on how I will be hospitalized? It's the same like no excuse for not going to physician. With psychiatrists and physicians literally threatening me, I would be hospitalized if I would go to the hospital to ask for medical assistance. Of course, there is no excuse for anything. Let's continue with this stuff. I showed you what is known as, in Slovenia, they call this a krvavica. In America, they call it bloody sausage. In English, it's in America, yes, in America. It's called a bloody sausage, blood sausage or whatever. Blood sausage, yeah, not bloody, but blood sausage. This type of stuff and I did mention to you already on the blog the issue pertaining to Andrej Stefanic. Yes, it was only poisoning. They were making sure after poisoning, and they refer to that as investigation of my mother's cooking. That's how they refer to it. Father, however, referred to this procedure to me during MK Ultra as, I could already get your mom arrested, but I will not do it because of you. This is the way it was during MK Ultra. With police officer who watch how she cooks, the stuff that she does, that's what my father started to claim me. This is the way it was, this is the way it is. Police officers, this is what is this? This is a police? That's the police? That's a police work to do stuff like this? That's a policing? Really? What kind of policing is this? They video record themselves also. Zajšek did. Božičnik did. He was not even a police officer yet back then. They started to video record themselves with the Uršič and so on, giving a good tips on why I should not eat the mother's food when she prepares, even the way she prepares the food. That pertains to the bloody sausage. As for this type of stuff, as for this one here that I demonstrated you, this shit here, which I believe it's wax from the candles. Mother play with the candles. I have videos, mother staff in the house with the candles, in a toilet below, in a lobby area, upstairs in a bathtubing area, etc., all over the fucking place. Fucking candles, reminders of MK Ultra death threats pertaining to the father and how he will be finished at any time, and also to my sister, how she will be finished at any time. And combine this stuff. My sister is gone of the picture. They claim that she died from the cancer. combine all this stuff with the stuff that I told you to get an idea about the zoo they created inside of the house, which my mother ran together with the neighbors and with the people, I should say, with the animals from the Novo Mesto city, who, according to not only psychiatrist Peter Kapsch, but Robert Golob, Milan Kuchan personally, the two love this type of blood sausage. I don't know if it was like this, but I remember it was packed like this. So it doesn't matter if this existed or not, but this is what they would eat. I think since like 2010, before even came into, they were interested in all the products, not only that existed on the store shelves, but foremost for the products. They were more interested for the products that will come on the store shelves and the way they would be packed and who would be packing them and so on. This was a specialty of Milan Kuchan, Robert Golob, Borut Pahor, who was a trainer of Robert Golob, Tanya Fayon, and so on. This is what they were doing. This was their specialty. This is what they were. This is what they were. This was the purpose in their life. Paranoia, schizophrenia. I'm not going to say only imitation of one, but through the torture, through the bestiality performed on, compel one to portray himself as a paranoid, as schizophrenic. This is their specialty. This is their. If you go under their resume, what their specialty is, their work. There's also other stuff. Crime, and more crime, whichever way you look. Slovenes, however, probably would argue with me. They probably would argue with me because it was for the common good. Yes, it was for the common good, and I like that now. It's good. It vindicates my approach toward them, toward the whole country, toward the people. So I totally distance myself from them, from the country, from everything. They insisted to me, talking about my mom and my mother in the final stages with the police, that they would do the stuff like this if I would have a lack of proofs, if I would feel that there is more stuff than I need, then that they would actually do stuff like this. And finally laugh into my face, saying to me that the way I eat, I might have not even noticed it when they would do stuff like this to me. But if I would notice it, and I could publish also this stuff, knowing that I would fuck them, they presented this issue like a pathetic issue. Yeah, če boš tu potreboval, if you're going to need this, and if it's going to be nobody else you could find guilty for it, then you also go for this stuff. I don't see this as a funny thing. And I don't see this as a humane procedure. So yes, it's going to the internet. My mom has to explain this stuff. She calls me a mental patient, mentally ill, and so on. She needs to explain this, or she needs to do some time behind bars. It is just as simple. That's the way it goes. It was all the time about, you're gonna lose mother. You're gonna lose mother. I love my mom. I love my mom and I love my dad. I love both of them. But they're just gonna have to explain about this stuff. The way my father presented this issue, the way they presented this issue, was actually done in such a way so that you would position both of them in a role of the criminals. Talking about animals from Novo Mesto police station, psychiatrists from Ljubljana Polje, politicians, Slovenian politicians, prosecutors who insisted me during MK Ultra the mother is going to be off the picture, father is going to be off the picture anyways, so then they got to do it. Yeah, I can say that they forced them, that they compelled them to act this way, they compelled them into this role. There is absolutely no doubt about it. But at the same time, both of my parents could be more honest about this stuff. We really did not have to go this pattern, this way. I still don't have anything from the side of my parents other than being called mentally ill. If I would push forward the idea about my father departing to home for elderly people so that my mom could do the stuff like this with me, then I guess I can whistle goodbye to my father and to my mom and to everything, because that clearly proves the point about attempted murder, systematic murder of someone, which in this case, make no mistake, it was enforced. It was enforced just as I described, through the lack of proper food, through the more than lack of proper food, through the toxic relation, through the toxic criminal based on MK Ultra mind, ways, which, however, again closely matched those of psychiatrist Peter Kapsch, animals from Novo Mesto police station, animals from Ljubljana Polje, psychiatrists with whom they coordinated with my parents all this stuff. And those demanded from them, based on observation about the stuff that went on inside of our house, between us. Surveillance, literally. Of course they did surveillance. Of course they did monitor the stuff way before, I should say also separately from MK Ultra procedures. Of course they did. Absolutely they did. Because they talk about these things. I heard them talking about during MK Ultra about these things. And coordinated certain incidents and demanded certain incidents to be repeated in a certain way. That's the way this stuff is done. They positioned my father and my mom into the role of somebody who's going to play guilty for the love of the love, no matter what. This is how they presented me this issue as. If you're not going to have anybody else to blame for, if you even need this, then you do this. But make no mistake about it, mom knows about this stuff. What I need to know is her explaining about police, about the stuff that was done. That's what matters to me. I'm not interested in destroying my mother, past animals, nor father. Absolutely not mother, not father. Past animals involved in this. At the end of the day, these are still two of my parents. And if they did this stuff, which is going to come out one way or the other, they did it for the love of my niece. That's a Urška Golob Veber, Mitya Weber. Those are the animals I demand to be destroyed. Those are the two animals that I do demand to be destroyed. I would also demand for my sister to be destroyed, simply because these are younger people, these are not as old people, and these are the people who pressured my mother and my father into crime, mercilessly. I want my mom and I want my dad, because the two of them, stupid as they are and rotten as they are, the two of them never had family of their own. They had my sister and they had me. And the sister demonstrated them viciousness, voraciousness, zest for unlimited amount of crime against me, clearly so that I could be replaced by my niece, by nobody else. That is the stuff that I will demand all the way, because it's about the young people and educated people. It's about the people who have tremendously a lot of money, excellent pay, excellent salaries, stable jobs, worry-free, stress-free jobs, yet not only they were involved in Mount Everest of torture, bestiality performed on me, but they further demanded from my parents to get me basically destroyed, to get me killed. They were the main engine, the main police engine behind this. That's a different story. Let me demonstrate you, for you to understand the circumstances of my mother, under what kind of circumstances she was. There you go. That's a graveyard here. That's a home for elderly people right here, right next door. And my mother, it doesn't matter which way my mother would go home. It really doesn't matter. It really, really matters not. It makes absolutely no difference. Whichever way she would head home, she would come in a situation indifferent from the one that you see. This is a Mercator store, local Mercator store. Everywhere you look, this is how many meters is this away from the, this is a 10-minute walk, 2 minutes with the car, they say. I don't know if it's 2 minutes, but it's about 1 kilometer with the car. It's a 30 kilometer an hour speed limit. I don't know if it's 2 minutes up there. But all right, let it be 2 minutes. Fine. You know what this is? This here is? This is just very, very close to our house, where I am from. It's also very close to our house, where I am from. This is all fucking apartment buildings here. Wherever you go, it's apartment buildings. Wherever the hell you go. Everything. It's apartment next to apartment. These apartments, this was bandit next to bandit. This was a Serbian next to Serbian. This was saturated with the Serbs here. This area here. Military, police. This is what the stuff that went on. In a big, 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 big way. The rest of it, as it pertained, that was roughly, that was a store. Whichever way you go. The rest of it were the people that were goats afraid for their lives. Including with everywhere you turn, it's nothing other than apartment buildings. Everywhere you turn, it's nothing other than this fucking apartment buildings. Nothing other. Nothing other. This was a super highly tortured area this year. I had families here, 2 families here, from my father's side. They alone became involved in torture. So the stuff that went on here in this bestiality area here, this is just right here below is a stream. That's going to be the last video I'm going to publish. This goes directly to the stream here. Let's see if I can get to that stream, if I can get anywhere. I did go too far. This was a Mount Everest of torture, of MK Ultra torture that went on here. Mount Everest of torture. So, this here is where police, psychiatrists recruited all kinds of crazies, whom mother, by the way, have seen torture during MK Ultra. For every fucking day that she would go home, is, as Milan Kučan stated, with Robert Golob, she would have herds of these bandits on the street. I don't see them so much anymore. They disperse themselves. It's not like it used to be. It's not like it used to be. This pedo culture, this is a pedo culture, pedophilia culture. It's like a cockroaches, basically. They hide themselves more than not. They don't make themselves so visible. And even if they make them so visible, the police is against you. And then there is nothing you can do. This is where we used to live. This is more apartments. Father moved from here to save my life, literally. That's what he claimed. He couldn't stand the city anymore. And I do believe that he did, in a great way, did exactly what I stated. This was our house, right in front of these apartment buildings, to save my life, literally. And it was, again, exactly this type of stuff, right from here, that I demonstrated you, that follow up on a Krka village came right behind us. I saw this as a friend because I was isolated in the village with my father, who had ability to purchase the property from the Miroslav Berger and the property from Peterlin. He still had that ability to buy. He didn't have to put the fence here. He had ability to purchase this land also here. This was all grass here when we came. There was no road, there was no streets, there was no shit here when we came. We came here first from all these houses that you see here. And the rest of it, it's exactly for where I demonstrated you. They stocked. We didn't have to have these neighbors. But father noticed that I was playing with this guy, and very soon a very good friend was this guy. Was a Berger, a super communist Berger, and decided that it would be the right call that he would not purchase this land here. This is a little bit explained and a little bit awkward. It's also the way the father explained to me is not exactly, he did explain to me during MK Ultra. However, it is true. It is true. These people were coming here before they purchased this parcel. And since we got so along with it, father, who was still in the game, who still have ability to purchase this, finally decided not to purchase this. And this is how these people came here. This is the way this stuff was. Just so that you know. The next, you're going to see the video. What I demonstrated is not Mlini. And you're going to see the video of torture area which Milan Kuchan have used, the house, and the torture area right behind this buildings. We were here at this so-called Nadmlini, this area here, and it pertains all the way to what is known as Kandiska Street. This is still, as I go home from elderly people, they created this path here, like this, and which was already, people already walked there already before, but finally they created a path that you can call a road. Actually, you're gonna see me, I'm gonna give you, for the last thing I'm gonna give you yesterday, even video recorded. It's called Along the Tashkavada. Right here is where I came out, and that's where the new bridge is, right here. This bridge, psychiatrist Peter Kapsch, animals from Novo Mesto police station in blue. Animals in blue is how I call them. Psychiatrists, in a parenthesis, from Ljubljana Polje, Psychiatric Hospital Ljubljana Polje. They had two variations of this bridge ready. Totally copy-paste variations of this. One was in Italy. With these animals, there is absolutely no way to know. There is absolutely no... The animals did not explain anything about where it was, what it was. They are very, very cautious about that stuff. They were given clues about it here and there. And, as you might anticipate, a lot of death threats. One location must have been here somewhere in the area of Verona, Bologna, wherever that is, that it's a look-alike bridge, somewhere here in Italy. This is what I anticipate. One was in this area here, something like this. And another location was also located, I believe, in Hungary, somewhere. Not too far, I believe, from Slovakia. I believe it was in Hungary. Two variations, two copy-paste variations of this bridge. New bridge they finally built here in the city of the Novo Mesto. They hallucinated on how I'm going to make a mistake about it. And I will never forget during MK Ultra, they just recently built this bridge here in the Novo Mesto. This is a new bridge here in the Novo Mesto. It's new. Now I'm talking about year 2016 and on 17, 18, and 19, 20. And even before that, I talk about year 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, you know. At least 2 bridges like this were used on other locations in order to incite to paranoia, schizophrenia, so they could get the proofs about the schizophrenia. Remember what Rachel Maddow stated, you don't have to commit the crime to be charged with the crime. Or you don't have to be mentally ill to be charged with mental illness. You can be charged with mental illness today, and the psychiatrist will make sure they will prove, because it's this kind of stuff that they can do. Walt Disney of organized crime on open. Brutality, violence, lynching on open, unlimited, through the total support of the society. The route that I demonstrated you over there, the mom goes through, it's the same shit if she goes through another place, through another bridge. Whichever way she goes, this is how much crime was. Because this is a Slovenia, it's so criminal. It's so murderous, it's so criminal. And so with these weirdos on the picture that Robert Golob referred to as emotional support for her, what the fuck is it that is not possible in this kind of environment? They created a special kind of hostility to get through the top positions at the United Nations, at the European Union Commission, and so on, to get this shit going the way they want it. What the hell is it that you cannot do like this? What is it? What is a paranoid? What is a schizophrenic about me? When I prove you about this stuff, how this stuff was done. But this is the bridge. At one point in time, they had me even observe one with a 3-dimensional Google. We did not even exist. On other occasion, right where you see this pilot right there in the middle of the river, I was on the boat with the psychiatrist Peter Kapsch and other people. They had a ladder inside of the boat and had a guy climbing literally on the top of that ladder and started to video record that the area that would be with the same height as the bridge, so that they would get somehow the idea about what it would be the view like from the bridge. So what kind of job is this for one psychiatrist, excuse me, or for the police, stuff like this? These people have done absolutely everything to demonstrate something that made them disgusted every fucking day when they saw themselves inside of the mirror. That Red Star, that Yugo-Serbian, Serbo-Slavian flag, which they craved after and were dying for, did not even matter anymore. In their zest for the lunacy to cover up, they became closely associated with the CIA, with the Germans and so on, which Germans and Americans noticed, liked it, together with the British, have taken to the next level of abuse. They don't give a fuck about you as a human being, talking about Americans and British. They care about one other thing, about the one that I told you. These are voracious animals with voracious appetites that know no fucking loyalty whatsoever. Oh, okay. So let that be the last video. See? This is what that looks like. And this here, to make myself clear, this is all cleaned up. This was all covered with the bushes like this. You couldn't get anywhere and see anything through here. Now you see it like this when it's cleaned up. And I'm also going to demonstrate you the stuff which is without the leaves that you can see that otherwise you could not. But they make the evidence, the criminal evidence on every step of the way. They were doing everything possible to get one removed, to alter one, to alter the nature of one, to modify the stuff. This shit is so criminal. This country is so fucking criminal that is beyond belief. Beyond belief disgusting.
This was yet another torture area, right? This apartment buildings. It all descended right here, and then in that forest right there. You see that forest right there? There is stairs there too. And that was a hardcore beating inside of that forest with Milan Kucha and Robert Golob. We are right here at where the new bridge is, in front of this Church of St. Nicholas bridge across the Kirka River. I'm gonna demonstrate you. And in the back like this I have hospital infrastructure, hospitals. Oh, that right there, that stuff right there, this was a bestiality, and that's a house I already did spoke about. Secluded garden, you cannot see nothing inside. That was yet another torture location. All the animals from these buildings descended down, right down here in this area there, and that's what went on. This is known as Teška voda. Milan Kučan was proud about the name Teška voda because Teška means heavy in translation, and water, voda, water. As that new bridge they built, which in Italy it was. It must be somewhere in Padova area. I have to see the map. Was a replica of this bridge before this bridge existed. They put one up, I understand, in 2016. They have more than one bridge like this. Animals from Novo Mesto police station, animals in blue, would deliver or run all this crime. Yeah, they wanted me to get personal with the people, because this exactly is how they label people as mentally ill. Because MK Ultra is what they alone stated, a loophole in the law. It can be done through MK Ultra, it cannot be done through other things. It appears to me that governments internationally have agreement in respect to so-called MK Ultra, that's basically drugging up people and torturing them in herds throughout the globe. For all of them agree to this type of bestiality performed, and therefore there was nothing for them to worry about. Collective crime.
Bill Clinton worried tremendously about. Bill Clinton tremendously worried about my parents and me, but not in a sense of helping out. Bill Clinton demanded from me to acknowledge my parents as criminals. It was the same thing with other politicians. It was the same thing with George Bush. It was the same thing with all other top Illuminati people involved in this case. With the Prince Charlie, I should say now your great King Charles, with all other animals involved in this case. He demanded them from me to acknowledge them as criminals. He was using them as hostages, and they, Illuminatis, insisted that going after my parents is also going to give them a clearance for their share of MK Ultra. They equaled their share of crime with crime of my parents against me. So they were using them as hostages, as an alibi. That's how they saw that. Therefore, it would be comparable to the family and so on and so forth. Well, the thing is that I don't see it that way. You are the politicians and you have the power. You were the force behind all those crazies and people who did this kind of stuff. You were the force behind the psychiatry. You were the force behind rigged ICC, International Criminal Court, is where I also sent the complaint, United Nations, Department of US Justice, Civil Rights Division. You were the force behind European Union Commission, etc., etc., etc. You were politicians. You were not ordinary people. And yes, you did go into one family to do stuff that you never ever should have done it. The last thing, Bill Clinton was extremely, extremely this is a voracious animal. This is unprecedented voracious animal. We'll talk about the Bill Clinton. He was centered into matrimonial issues, into the stuff that he figured out would matter to me. He was not interested in solving, just like Charlie from Britain, just like Joe Biden and everybody. They wanted to offer the concept of health solutions. I want to be part of the solution, but they wanted to present this issue to me as whom you are going to need, with what even turned into a matrimonial issues with Bill Clinton gesturing me. Chelsea Clinton, that's basically a daughter, his daughter of Bill Clinton, would not have children and would stay with a guy just for my sake till this case would end, to have a children with me. How the fuck is this shit? That it was the same shit with George Bush. It was the same thing with Ivanka Trump. It was with all those daughters. This is what the daughters are used for. This is how they put them to work. This is what they use them for. But these are the voracious animals that you possibly cannot imagine they exist. Yet they were presidents of the United States of America. They sit inside of the Buckingham Palace. The sister from Kate Middleton, the same thing, and a whole bunch of others, the same fucking thing. Just be quiet and go into the dark, go into the night, without saying anything about the stuff that went on. This is the way it is. Threats, extortion, and finally, the solutions to the crime, to the poisoning, to the cancer development, to the issues that they play with, broken spine issues and so on. And the solutions, all about who need whom, how you can solve your problem. It wasn't about the stuff it all started with. Oh, you're gonna get the whole Vancouver, you're gonna get the whole fucking half of the Canada you're gonna get. I don't know, we owe you trillions of dollars and so on. All that stuff was off the picture. Then it was all about the solutions through the healthcare systems and about creating more problems. If I cite now King Charles pertaining to Australia, where he had one of the females that was involved in MK Ultra, a Croatian female, whom they discovered she suffers from 3 different types of cancer: brain cancer, bone cancer, and I don't know what other, lymphoma cancer or whatever, upon the car accident. They had me in Australia with this girl. I could describe her, everything, not a problem. With Charles, who also visited, and he said, also put this, and so on. And so anything, they cured her. She's not dead. Fake death certificate. So anything they found like this, they could solve, but that would potentially pose for me death-threatening situation that might have not been resolved here in Slovenia or whatever, or might have not been resolved in other countries or whatever. Write it down and write on. This is the way they did this stuff, yeah. But as you see, they didn't even manage to go past psychiatric hospitalization, which they commenced against me in 2012. For a little bit of silence, anything can be done for you in today's world. Just be silent, just be nice. I just found this song right here, Golden Brown. The Golden Brown, which appears was just released, was released during MK Ultra, like many other songs in which British royals personally became implicated. Sometimes in 2009 is where this song Golden Brown already came up, And everybody was happily whistling this song. Why was the song just released 5 months ago? But the song was released 5 months ago. At least this is what I think it was. I don't know. That's where it says the date, 5 months ago. It was released because the golden brown are Asians. This is what the Prince Charlie, now King Charlie, gestured me. That's why I related to the Prince Charles, now King Charles. Charlie is a fuck boy. You know, easy come, easy go, a little here, a little there. This is what this is. That's what this is. That's what this shit is. That's what this stuff is. This is a fuck boy. You know what the fuck boy for me is? The fuck boy is the one that is not straight. And I'm not talking about the gay people. I'm talking about the fucks that lie a little bit here, they lie a little bit there, and they fucking lie and lie and lie on their fucking life. From the birth, the scum see the fucking daylight, all the way to the grave. A lie, lie, lie. Hate, hate, hate. Lie, lie, lie. Yeah, even the face, even his face looked like a face from the fucky. When you look at this fucked up face, when you look at this hook nose and the facial expressions that he makes, he make himself look like an old man, like a goody oldie, like a good old person, you know, like generous man, you know, yeah, you know, and in reality, it's a fuck boy. A little bit like here, a little bit like there. He incited in the racism against and pulled one out like this through the song that I demonstrated you. I'm not going to play because then I'm going to need a special license. Let's see, they protect their material. That fucks you even more. That's your golden brown. This is what the golden brown. If you will go, and it will be a golden brown, and then it will be, you're gonna end up as an Asian, as a Chinese, as a Japanese, or whatever. Then on the other hand, Japanese and Asians did not resent him. I should say Asians did not resent him. Why not? Well, take a wild guess. Take a wild guess, why not? So you see, this is the company. So a little bit here, a little bit there, a fuck, bam, 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 and you get the whole thing done, right? With a little bit of luck, with a lot of lies, and you get it done. Slovenians cared only about one thing. They care about this animal to have him on the picture. With him on the picture, or with this animal on the picture, even this one here was involved. And then you can figure out where this whole thing is heading to. There is nothing much to worry about, right? Because with these animals in the picture, who's gonna touch us?